Tell us about this 777X. Is this the next new big thing in the aviation world?
Look, it is. It is the new next big thing, but it's a little bit late, and that's because of the certification issues. Requirements have been ramped up by the US FAA after the MAX crashes in 2018, 2019. So the whole way they certify aeroplanes has been turned on its head. And Boeing has to jump through a lot more hoops now to get the aircraft certified. There's a couple of minor problems with it as well, which we always get with new aircraft types. They've been resolved. Now it's software tweaks, but they're hoping to have it certified in the middle of 2023. And yes, it's a wow of an aeroplane. It'll be the biggest aeroplane flying after the A380 is out of production. And the real beauty of it is the fuel economy. Compared to, say, a 747, it'll burn probably about 45% less fuel per passenger. So an extraordinary leap forward in capability and reduction in fuel burn.
Okay, well, we all look forward to flying on that when we can.
Yep.
And that leads me to our next topic of discussion, which is travelling overseas. We have this bubble opening up with Singapore on Sunday, in some parts of the country anyway,
Yes.
that are letting in international arrivals. How is that meant to work? What's the next step in terms of bubbles? Where are we at?
Look, yes, the bubbles are the way forward for the time being. Singapore Sunday. The restrictions on or the requirements that you have to meet are constantly changing. Only 3 months ago, you had to have a test on arrival in Singapore for COVID, test day 2, test day 6. These sorts of requirements were the initially laid out. They've been wound back now, and you may be required to have a COVID test on arrival. It's a constantly changing situation, not only with Singapore, with countries around the world. As far as new travel bubbles are concerned, obviously New Zealand will resume soon. Then we're looking at possibly Korea and Japan as the next candidates for travel bubbles.
And are the airlines ready to just spring back into action and send planes here for people who do want to head off on holidays or meet up with family again?
Well, the answer is yes and no to that question, because a lot of airlines have been flying in here anyway to Australia, but carrying virtually no passengers or empty, but coming in to pick up freight, perishables, like chilled lamb or chilled pork or crayfish, or all those sorts of perishable things that we export in very large quantities. So the planes have been flying in. The flight crew there, obviously. Only thing missing is the cabin crew. So they have to reactivate the cabin crew. And yes, a lot of airlines have got to reactivate aeroplanes, and they take about a week, possibly longer, to reactivate, about 1,000 man-hours to bring them back to flying condition. And of course then retrain, revalidate pilots, and that can take a week as well.
And is it really only vaccinated passengers who can travel? Are other countries being as strict as Australia, or other airlines being as strict as Qantas?
Look, essentially it's double vaccinated passengers. There are exceptions, there are variations, and that's one of the big challenges. There are so many variations to what you can and can't do, what you have to have or don't have to have. You really have to consult a really good travel agent. You can go online to IATA. They've got a travel map, COVID travel map, and with all the countries of the world, and you run your cursor over it, and it opens up a little balloon with a lot of writing, a lot of requirements, and you've got to troll through those to work out what you need or what you don't need. But when you book online with an airline, of course, they'll also tell you what you need, what you don't need. So it's a bit of a challenge at the moment.
A bit more paperwork needed before you jump on that plane, perhaps.
Absolutely.